gross margin percentage. Assume sales tax of 6% is included in the price, so you must subtract it out. You guys are like, we've done this 100 times. I know. There should be nothing mysterious about this. By the way, I used Snaps as my fictitious company this time. But you guys are in the final exam, it's going to be impressions. You're still working. I'll give you about 15 more seconds. Which product has the highest gross margin percentage? Julio. If you're still thinking on your own, just keep thinking. If there's something unclear about the question, I'll help clear.
Yeah, that's why I'm...
Do your best to work it out. All right, let's, on the count of three, let's make our choices and raise our cards. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Lots of greens, a few, I got oranges, reds, lots of concentrated. Keep your cards up high. All right, let's see here. Interesting, okay. Let's hear from someone with a green card. Matt, child.
So all I did is I took each of the top part dollars collected per unit, divided it by 1.06 to be able to see what our revenue was. And then I just subtracted the cost per unit from that, and then divided it again by the revenue that I got by dividing the top part by 1.06.
Okay, so you basically you just walked through and you divided the gross profit after subtracting sales tax, right? Now, I got some different answers. Do folks who held up different cards want to talk through or have questions about why most of us got green? Because otherwise we haven't really cleared it up for you. And it's okay if you got a different answer. You just want to think through what's not clear. Okay. We're going to have another chance.
Quick question, can we go over how to find sales tax one more time?
Okay, let's see, yeah. So let's hear from Mason. What answer did you get? Polaroid print, okay. Did you subtract out the sales tax? By the way, you could get this one right without doing the sales tax correctly.
Yeah.
So I'm giving you a bone on that one, but how do we do the sales tax, guys?
So in Excel, you take
Really loud.
in Excel you take the cost of your product.
The cost, so in this case, Polaroid prints was 25 cents.
Yeah. Well, sorry. I guess the dollars collected, so the $2.
Okay,
And then you divide that, and then in parentheses 1 plus the sales tax percentage.
did you guys hear that? Divide by 1 plus the sales tax percentage. Gives you what?
So so that gives you 11 cents on the $2. That's sales tax.
Well, it actually gives you the revenue, doesn't it?
Yeah, the revenue
Yeah.
would be $1.
So it takes your right to revenue if you just divide by 1 plus the sales tax rate. Yes?
So I just had a question of why we're taxed if we're a non-profit organization.
Why are we taxed if we're a nonprofit? Yes?
Because sales tax is taxing the consumer rather than the company.
Did you hear that?
Oh, okay.
This isn't your income tax, this is your sales tax, which you don't pay. You just collect it and then give it to the government. So it feels like you're paying it, right? Because you'd like to not have to include it and just keep it. But it's just money that you collected on behalf of the government as a tax collector. Now, that doesn't answer your question when we get to calculating your income tax, does it?
I understand that's just for the whole IBC learning
Uh-huh.
experience.
Yeah, so you guys are not not-for-profit businesses, but you run under the university, which is not-for-profit. So we have you calculate sales tax because in a for-profit enterprise you would, but income tax. But the school does not actually pay that income tax. And actually in your financials, you don't pay it either, do you? You accrue it, don't you? So it just sits on your balance sheet as a liability, income tax is payable. And many of you will never have to pay that because you also never really show a profit. Okay, great. Here we go. You ready for the next one? This one's even easier, guys. Same assumptions. Which product has the highest gross profit in dollars? So rather than in percentage, which product has the highest gross profit in dollars? The large printed canvas, the medium printed canvas, Polaroid prints, or not enough information? All right, I'll give you 10 more seconds to figure it out. Okay, on the count of 3, show your cards. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we have a sea of red. Okay, guys, let's have a quick discussion. What's the difference between gross margin percentage and gross profit dollars? Why do we care about that difference?
Because you don't want.
Ashley?
Because even though the Polaroid prints have like a higher gross margin percentage,
Uh-huh.
the large canvas prints has a higher dollar, so you don't have to sell as much to be able to make more money.
Did you guys hear that? The Polaroid prints have a nice high percentage. So if we were just looking at percentages, the Polaroid prints are the best product, aren't they? But, and we don't need to do the math right here, but we'd have to sell a lot of prints to make up for one canvas, even if the canvas has a lower percentage gross profit, right, or gross margin. So it's important to look at both of those items. Suppose that we had just the numbers we just have right now, but our gross margin was declining on the canvas prints. So instead of just looking at one week, we look at week over week over week, and we see that it's declining. What kinds of things would you start thinking about if you saw that? What questions would you start to ask? William?
Why is the Why is it that what is occurring, is it that the price we're selling it for is going down, or is it the cost of goods is going up? And what is causing that change?
Okay, that's a great start. Other thoughts that you guys would start digging into if you saw your gross margins declining over a week? Are my costs per unit going up? Is my price per unit going down? What else might you think about?
Well, there's stuff that goes into the canvases, whether it's labor or the marketing specifically to it, those other costs that are associated.
Yep. How about, is my total profit going up or down? Because if my gross margin goes down, but I sell twice as many units because I cut my price, am I making more money or less money? Right? Those are the kinds of questions I would ask and I do ask, right? You guys come in here every couple of weeks of the board meeting and I have to ask those kinds of questions. All right. This is the last one on this. I think we've beaten this one up okay, so I'm going to move on. Jay.
Sorry, I was just wondering, so you just talked about labor, I was wondering, is labor included in that cost per unit?
What do you think? Is labor included in that cost per unit?
No.
That's a tricky question. Dempsey, why don't you take a crack at it?
Well, for this, no, just because it's the actual cost of what the canvas is, but because you're looking at the product by product basis, and because you have labor eventually later down, like within the income statement, so you wouldn't include it here to figure out whether or not the price is going to make sense, but you want to figure it out eventually, because if it takes 5 hours to make it, is it really going to make more sense to do it as opposed to doing a smaller canvas that will be faster, that type of.
So on the one hand, we didn't include labor in these costs, right? But on the other hand, labor is still part of our profitability. If we don't figure out what's going on with it, if our gross margins decline, but everything else stays the same, I could turn from profitable to unprofitable. William.
I was gonna say, in real life, you probably would include labor if you can track it to which object. So if you can figure out that people spend 5 minutes per canvas, then you can allocate that labor pretty easily.
Yeah, and in fact, this is one of those areas where we've taught you something that's not right, just to make it so you can manage. Does that make sense? Because we didn't want to force you guys to include 2 labor expenses, direct labor plus indirect labor. So we just included it all in one line. But if you were a manufacturing business, you would actually, anything that went into making the product would be included in cost of goods sold as direct labor. So when you leave here, if you think this is the way that businesses do it, you're gonna have to unlearn a couple of things. We felt like it was worth it to keep it simple enough for you guys to manage. So in an operating business, in almost every business you guys will go to, direct labor would be included in cost of goods sold, Jake. But in IBC, we don't include it. Great, other questions about this one? You guys are doing good. Okay, we're gonna skip this one because most of you already did this. It's just a different way of asking the same question, right? So I've said, what's the gross margin percentage for Polaroid prints? Should we just do it? Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. So the choices are 13%, 75%, 87%, or 88%.
But you have to get the sales tax first, so you use this to be able to get the sales tax and the revenue. And then you can figure out after that, subtracting.
It's right here.
Cost of goods sold from the
Gross margin
revenue, that will
percentage.
get you gross margin.
Polaroid prints.
So you do revenue
Just for
minus
Polaroid
cost of
prints.
goods sold. And so then once you do that, then you take the gross margin, but do this, and then that's how you get.
Okay, you guys ready? On the count of 3, show your votes. 1, 2, 3. Okay, a lot of 3s. Can't change afterwards. Who did that?
I was just picking my.
It's
Okay, Nathan, you chose